All right. Good morning, everyone. Good afternoon, depending on where you're tuning in from. Welcome to this week's mobile coaching stream. My name is Patrick France, senior instructor here at VectorVest, and I'll be your host for today's stream. Good morning, Jay. Good morning, Drew. Hopefully, you guys are doing well. VV Nation, love seeing that. We should be live both on Facebook and on YouTube, so if you guys can hear me out there, type in VV Nation into the chat. Let's get those going here. Just want to make sure, everything looks good on that side. So yeah, we should be good. Awesome. So once again, welcome everybody to our weekly mobile coaching stream where we cover the most comprehensive trading app out there, the VectorVest Stock Advisory app. It has everything you need to be, one, on the right side of the market, two, knowing when to get in, knowing what stocks to be getting into, and three, also knowing when not to be buying in the market. Because unlike some of the major popular analysts on TV, we don't always advocate buying stocks all the time, and we believe that cash can be a king, or cash can be a position. So yeah, that's really what separates us. Is we make sure that you guys stay on the right side of things, and you guys stay protected and are able to consistently make money in the market. Manju coming in with the VV Nation. There you go, Manju. Cody's saying just shop scalp for just shy of $250. Not bad there, Cody. Well done. All right. So as always, for anybody tuning in for the very first time, what we like to do here is first off, take a look at what's going on in the overall market. Then we'll dive into our topic of discussion. And then as always, we'll finish off with the fan favorite of analyzing any stock that you want to take a look at in less than 10 seconds. So if you guys have stocks you want to see analyzed, make sure to stick around towards the very end, and we'll get those analyzed for you. Also, now that we're here, now that we're live, make sure before we get started here that you guys smash that like button right below me. All that helps us out with the YouTube algorithms and doesn't cost you a thing. So therefore, if you want to see these continuing, make sure to hit that like button. And if you're new to the channel and you're enjoying what you see, make sure to hit that red subscribe button, join the VV Nation community, and turn on notifications because we have lots of live content, lots of awesome ideas teaching you how to be successful in the market all the time. So you don't want to miss out on all the other content we bring out for you on a daily basis. How can I watch this in the VectorVest desktop program? Roger, under the training tab, I believe it is. I think they're adding a new feature into the VectorVest 7 software that under the training tab, you can see that there. They're adding it in, so that may be one way, but maybe in testing, I'm not quite sure. That's something new that I haven't really dealt with quite yet. All right. So with that, let's go ahead, jump right into it and get started here this morning. So right now, right out of the gate, markets have changed direction from where they first opened up at, with the Dow now down over a full percentage point. NASDAQ's down about 1/3%. S&P 500 also down about 1/3. VectorVest Composite basically flat for the session so far, but coming from a positive gain, now down to break even. So with that market action, our needles are pointing 2 ticks into the green. So therefore, the market is somewhat bullish, and VectorVest advocates buying safe, undervalued stocks that are rising in price at this time. So as always, if you ever want a detailed description of what's going on in the market on a nightly basis, make sure to tune into the daily color guard report found right here. And that will make sure that you know what's going on in the market today, what to expect for tomorrow, what news you need to be aware of, and how to prepare yourself for the next trading day. In essence, it's going to make sure that you never get caught off guard with anything going on in the market. Now, if you're not a VectorVest subscriber, you don't have the VectorVest Stock Advisory app, at minimum, make sure to use the link down in the description below so that way you can sign up for the 2-week free trial and put the power of the VectorVest tools on your side here. Is the market hitting a big resistance here? Not really going to be looking at that there for right now, Bill. We're going to be talking about, just general VectorVest Stock Advisory stuff here today. All right. So with that, let's go ahead, scroll down a little bit, take a look at the color guard here where we get our market timing information. And as we can see, we start off with 3 columns here: the price, the RT, and the BSR. Now, the price is looking at the price of the VectorVest Composite, which is an arithmetic indexed average of about 9,200 stocks out there. This gives you a better representation on what's actually going on in the market because it's not just looking at small subsets of the market, such as the Dow's 30, Nasdaq's 100, or the S&P's 500, but once again, looking at 9,200 stocks here. And as we can see, it is green since the price of VectorVest Composite is currently higher day over day and week over week. Now, the next indicator is the RT, or relative timing, and this is looking at the short-term price trend of the overall market, and it's cast on a scale of 0 to 2. So, above 1 would indicate the short-term trend of the market is up. Below 1, short-term trend is down. At 1 exactly, the short-term trend of the market is currently neutral. After that, we then get the BSR, which stands for the buy to sell ratio, which looks at the overall health of the market by analyzing the number of buy-rated stocks in the market and comparing it to the number of sell-rated stocks in the market. So when there's more buys than sells, as there is now, the buy to sell ratio will be above 1, currently reading at 1.63, which indicates overall market strength. Now, the trends of these three indicators are comprised to come up with our MTI, or our market timing indicator. Once again, going to be cast on a scale of 0 to 2, and above 1 indicates the underlying trend of the market is up. Below 1, underlying trend of the market is down. One thing I will point out, the MTI currently is sitting at 1.43, getting closer to that top heavy level of 1.6, which historically shows the market starting to look for a top. So that is something to keep an eye on as we move forward throughout these markets here. So then after that, we then get the trend column, which shows two parts of the trend each and every day. The first part is referring to what we like to call the primary wave, which shows the short-term or simply weekly trend of the market. As we can see, it is up since the price of the VectorVest Composite is higher than what it was compared to 5 trading days earlier. Now the second part, looking at the underlying trend of the MTI, so since the MTI is above 1, the underlying trend of the market is also up. And then last but not least, something we haven't seen in quite a while, we get to the calls column, which stands for our confirmed calls, and our confirmed calls are our most conservative timing system. They're our last signal we get into the market and our last signal we get to get out. And as you can see, we do actually have a confirmed up situation at this time. Now, the last thing we want to take a look at on here is the advanced declines, which shows the number of stocks moving higher for the session compared to the number of stocks moving lower for the session. Whenever we're looking for a good day to be buying or even shorting, we want to see a 2-to-1 bias. So right now, we have the overall market moving higher. So if we're going to be buying or looking to buy a position here today, we want to see twice as many stocks advancing than declining. Well, currently we're sitting at about 48% of stocks moving higher and about 40% of stocks moving lower, therefore not meeting that 2-to-1 bias, telling us maybe we should hold off for the day, wait for a better buying opportunity. All right, well, if we do get that opportunity to be buying and we see the advanced declines start to create that 2-to-1 bias that we like to see, what can you look at for, or what should you be looking at to potentially be adding to your portfolio? Well, VectorVest makes that simple. Under the stock pick ideas over on the left-hand side, we get the overall top-rated stocks found in the retirement section, but these are going to be our highest VST stocks. Now, VST stands for value, safety, and timing, and it's a combination of some of our key analytical indicators that we use here at VectorVest to analyze and break down any stock out there for you in a fast and consistent way. So that way you can get usable information rather than just scads of data here. So no matter what your investment style is, whether you're a long-term investor, short-term investor, momentum trader, you can find some great candidates here. It's kind of like a nice blend of a lot of different types of stocks all found in one master list here for you. So taking a look at it, our very top stock, SMCI. Well, if we tap on that, go ahead and break it down. As we were talking about, our key analytical indicators down here at the bottom, the RV, RS, RT, and then the VST once again. And all of these are going to be cast on that scaling of 0 to 2, and above 1 is good and below 1 is bad. That's really as hard as we need to make it here with the VectorVest Stock Advisory app. So the first one we're going to look at is RV, or relative value, which is looking at the long-term potential of the stock over the next 1 to 3 years. So with SMCI, with our RV of 1.73, tells us this stock has great long-term potential over the next 1 to 3 years. The next indicator is the RS, or relative safety, which is looking at the amount of risk involved with this stock and comparing it to the average stock out there. Well, at 1.38, that tells us there is less risk associated with it than the average stock currently. Then last but not least, the third component of our key indicators, so more the technical indicator, if you will, is the RT or relative timing, which once again is looking at the short-term price trend, but this time on the individual equity. Since it's cast on a scale of 0 to 2, above 1 to closer to 2 it is, the stronger the uptrend. Below 1 to closer to 0 it is, the stronger the downtrend. So with SMCI, even with it pulling back a little bit, still has an RT rating of 1.77, telling us it's in a really strong short-term uptrend right now. So then the combination of these three indicators are combined to come up with our overall VST indicator, which shows a great picture from a both fundamental and a technical perspective. So with SMCI at a VST rating of 1.64, that tells us overall this stock is favorable from both a fundamental and a technical reading here. Now, if you're somebody who likes doing a lot of digging and a lot of data analytics and all that, well, below there, there we go. Below there, we have our extended data where you can find things such as the value of the stock currently, what the stock should be currently worth. Right now with SMCI, current value is 107.97, trading at 90.10, so therefore the stock is undervalued right now. You can also get other indicators such as earnings information, dividend information, sales information, the industry and sector that it's in, whether there's options available on it, and a whole lot of other information as well. So if you ever want a breakdown of this or an explanation of any of these, as always, you can use the stock analysis report found right under the key indicators just by simply tapping on it here. And this will give you a written out detailed description of every single indicator we just talked about, gives you a little bit of information about what the company does, where its headquarters is at, and then a breakdown of everything that you could possibly want to know about the stock can be found right here. And you can pull this stock analysis report up on any stock out there as well. Cody's asking, can we view the DTI combo timing using the mobile app? It's only available, Cody, with the VectorVest 7 desktop. It's not on the mobile app. But great question. All right, let's move on to the next one. RELL. This stock, analyzing it using the 4 key indicators at the bottom. Stock has great long-term potential, has less risk associated with it. You're in a really strong short-term uptrend, so overall the stock is definitely favorable. If we scroll down a little bit, stock is also currently undervalued. So that's definitely a positive thing because the VectorVest mantra is to buy safe, undervalued stocks that are rising in price in a rising market. Well, first and foremost, safe. RS is above 1, tells us this is a safe stock compared to the average stock out there. Undervalued. Well, the value is at 30.74. Right now it's trading at 25.82. So it is undervalued. And then is it rising? RT is above 1. So yeah, the stock is rising. And now we just go look at the overall market timing like we looked at the very beginning to know if the market is rising as well to get confirmation of that. Then once you've done the analysis, you get comfortable. Let's move on to the next one. STLD, for example. Let's say we've gone through the analysis. We like this stock because it has good potential, good long-term potential. It has less risk associated with it. Really strong short-term uptrend. So overall, yeah, the stock is definitely favorable. You want to see more. Well, before you ever buy a stock, you should always take a look at the graph or the chart of a stock. Because a graph is like a big picture of the stock. And as the old saying goes, a picture is worth 1,000 words. So all we have to do is just tap on the graph at the top. I'll maximize it here so everybody can see it out there. And right now we have the price shown in candlesticks. We have a 3 and 8 exponential moving average on the chart. And then below there, we have the MACD. Well, if you want to customize your charts to set them up exactly how you want them, just simply tap on the little gear icon in the upper left. And that gives you your graph settings. So for moving averages, you can tap on that. You can customize them, simple, exponential, weighted. You can change the periods that you're looking for, add them, remove them just by using that little switch at the top. And then you can add envelopes, support resistance, and then the lower indicator, which we have MACD currently. Let's say we're looking for earnings per share because as we always talk about, earnings is going to be the engine that drives stock prices higher over time. And if a company's earnings are rising, we expect to see that company's stock price continue to rise over time as well. Also, I will point out the VectorVest earnings per share indicator is a little bit different than what you're going to see in most places. Our earnings numbers isn't just the most recent numbers that's been given. Our earnings are going to be taking a look at not only the historical numbers, but also a 12-month forecasted earnings per share as well. So when you look at our earnings numbers, it's going to be saying this is what we expect to see their earnings be 12 months down the road, not what they currently are. And the reason for that is if we put it on a longer term time frame, maximize it, if the earnings are expected to continue to rise 12 months down the road, then you can expect to see the price of that stock continue to rise over that time frame as well. So when looking at STLD, there's two key things when looking at a chart that you always want to pay attention to or always want to look for. The first and foremost is a steady rise in price from the bottom left to the upper right, like we're seeing here. Make sure as always, keep it on the 1 year time frame if you're using this methodology as well. The second thing you want to see is a nice steady rise in earnings per share or EPS at the bottom, like a stair-step pattern from bottom left to upper right. Well, looking at STLD, we can see it's pretty choppy and actually starting to cool off, starting to move south actually at this time. So therefore, earnings aren't really steadily rising, giving us a little bit of hesitation with pulling the trigger on this type of a trade right now. So if we move on to the next one, VOC. Nice steady rise in price from the bottom left to the upper right. And looking at earnings, steadily rising from the bottom left to the upper right like a stair-step pattern. This is going to be an ideal candidate that we're looking for. Now, if you wanted to take this one step further and you wanted to add your own flavor to it, if you will, one thing you may want to look at, technical analysis. We have a previous level of resistance from that high mark on that candle at 10:06. And as you can see, today we are right up against that level of resistance. So if you're looking for an entry, obviously the market timing is telling us today may not be the best day. But if we did see a good day, or if the market was saying, yeah, everything looks good, we're looking at this one. Wait to see it break the resistance level before you would jump on board with it. All right, getting out of here. Oh, there we go. AEHR. Looking at this one. Price really isn't steadily rising from bottom left to upper right like a stair-step pattern or like a nice steady line. So therefore, this is not going to be the more long-term oriented style of trade. Also looking at the earnings per share, you can see the earnings did take a hit as of last quarter and are now starting to move lower. They were rising for a while, but not quite anymore. So therefore, take advantage of this one. You can see it has strong momentum behind it. So this is going to be more of that momentum style of play rather than, a swing trade or a long-term investment here. So that's how you can, quickly identify these kind of plays just by, a matter of seconds looking at a chart. And I will give you guys one pro tip when looking at a chart. When looking at a graph, if you're spending more than 20 to 30 seconds looking at it, most likely you're trying to find a reason to convince yourself to buy that stock rather than having the stock sell itself to you. And with over 9,200 stocks out there, there's no need to settle for one. Instead, if you're not comfortable, if it doesn't really sell itself to you in that first 30 seconds at least, just move on to the next one. You've got plenty of great candidates to choose from. Hey there, Chris. Hopefully you're doing well. Glad to see you here this morning. All right, so let's say we liked LNG's chart. Well, we go back, looking at the analysis. LNG, great long-term potential. You have less risk associated with it. You're in a steady short-term uptrend. So overall, the stock is still favorable. Scrolling down a little bit, the stock is clearly undervalued as a forecasted earnings growth rate of 46% a year. It does even pay a dividend. So for more conservative investors out there that are looking for that dividend, you have great dividend safety, not the biggest yield, but the YSG factor, which looks at yield, safety, and growth. It's kind of like the VST, but for the dividend specifically rather than the individual company. And it's going to be cast on that scale of 0 to 2. And YSG above 1 indicates that dividend is favorable. So here has a YSG of 1.18, which tells us the dividend is currently favorable for this stock. So as you can see, there's lots of different styles of stocks here. This one going to be more aggressive play since it has great long-term potential, but it does have a little bit more risk associated with it. But as an aggressive investor, you're looking for timing. And timing at 1.83 tells us it's in a really strong short-term uptrend. So overall, the stock is definitely favorable. So if you're more of an aggressive style of investor, this may be a candidate that you lean towards other than some of the other ones we've looked at so far. Karen has a question. In stock picks, what search criteria is used to generate the top dividend stock lists? I used to have that. I believe it is the drip list. I'd have to go back and check my notes, Karen. But if I'm not mistaken, it comes from the drip watch list. It's not from the Unisearch. It's from the drip watch list, I believe. I'm trying to remember where I have those notes saved. It's going to take me a little bit of time to go back through all of my notes with that to try to find it. But I'm about 90% positive that's where it comes from. Let me see if I have it quickly here. Where would it be? Not going to be in that one. Not going to be there. Yeah, unfortunately, I don't have it. I have to go back and go through, but I believe it comes from the drip 25 plus watch list there. Can I use the desktop app to pull up the same info? Yeah, more you most certainly can. All of it will be laid out in that standard spreadsheet style formula rather than the way it's laid out here. But yeah, everything that we cover here today in the mobile app can also be applied to the desktop. You're welcome, Karen. I'll double check that, but I'm about 90% sure it comes from the drip 25 plus watch list. But I'd have to go back and double check, and unfortunately I don't have the time to do that right now. All right, so that's going to really be it. You can find, once again, a lot of great stocks. Some of them you may be familiar with, some of them you may not, but that's why, it pays to have the watch list available to you so that way you can check it in any time. And whenever you're looking for great candidates and you don't have a lot of time to go spend hours upon hours going through different searches, different scans, and all of that, all you have to do is pull up the top VST stocks, the overall top rated stocks, and I'm sure you can find, out of the top 20 or 30, I'm sure you can find at least a handful of candidates that look good that would be of interest to you to jump on board with. Interestingly enough, seeing Celsius coming back into the top of the list, this was a top VST stock for quite a while, had a pullback, but the fundamentals were still good. Taking a look at the earnings were still rising, and now you're seeing price starting to climb back higher again. Earnings taking a little bit of a dip over the last quarter or so, so that definitely is a little bit of a concern, but they're still higher on a year-over-year basis, so the company's still making money. So yeah, it's definitely been a good stock to trade, and I've been a big fan of the drink as well, so can't really complain about that one. But yeah, so as you go down, you're going to see a lot of oil, a lot of energy stocks currently with VLO, Halliburton in here, Marathon coming in, P10, let's see what other ones, HP coming in here, just simply going through 9 for an energy, Hess, Imperial Oil, Marathon. So you're seeing a lot of oil that has been at the very top of the list, slowly starting to make its way down currently. So that's why you're starting to see, that's why paying attention to the list can really help you out. It can also not only help you find great candidates, it can also help you identify some of the trend changes that we're looking for, such as, once again, noticing oil was at the very top of the list for quite a while, but now you're starting to see it slowly moving down the list because it's not in favor as much as it has been. Still not necessarily the worst thing, but there's definitely some opportunities that could be found elsewhere currently in the market while oil takes a little bit of a breather right now. All right. Pulled back because Patrick stopped drinking it. Cheers, Drew. So yeah, that's going to be it. Does the system change industry on trend? So no, the top VST stocks is not going to look at industries or look at, seasonality, that sort of thing. It's simply going off of the VST rating. So the combination of the RV, RS, and RT all into one. If you're looking for industries, obviously we have the hot industries section right below there. That will update periodically as the industries change on what's the hottest industries at the time. So if you're looking for industry sector rotation, that would be the best place to go. But if you're just looking for, overall best performing stocks out there, the best, highest rated stocks out there currently, then top VST stocks are going to be the easiest place to go no matter what your investment style is. Everybody, no matter whether you're conservative all the way to aggressive to speculative, are going to really be able to utilize this list and find at least a handful of candidates out of the top that, look attractive to you. Hey, glad you're enjoying your mug there, Carol. With Chevron back in Venezuela, how do you think it'll affect oil? I mean, I don't think it's going to really change too much. I think the direction of oil currently is being dictated by the recession fears. And I think as we start to see people get more and more bearish and seeing they're coming to reality with the fact that, the Fed isn't pivoting anytime soon. People made up a story to try to pump the markets yesterday that the Fed was going to be pivoting. That quickly got shot down and brought back down to earth. I think that's going to be the main driver behind oil right now, more so than Chevron getting into Venezuela. So, yeah. All right. With that, one last thing we want to talk about with this list, depending on your investment style, you can use the rank by at the top as well to help sort your candidates to make your shopping process, if you will, with all the holiday shopping going on right now, your shopping process even easier. So for example, let's say that you're somebody who is more of a conservative investor. Therefore, your primary focus is going to be on the relative safety factor rather than RV or RT or any of those. So just by simply using the sort at the top, choosing RS, for example, it'll instantly bring the safest stocks or the highest RS stocks out of this list right to the top for you. And if you notice, the sort or the column on the right-hand side also changes to display that relative safety to make it even easier. So that way you can already start off with the stocks that you'd be most interested in. For example, VRTX, the highest RS stock out of the top rated stocks currently, has good long-term potential, has a lot less risk than anything else out there. The timing is a little bit of an issue. At 1.09, it's not quite moving as fast as some of the other stocks we were looking at, but it's still in a steady, slow uptrend, which you're going to, it's a give and take, if you will, when looking at it. If you're looking at, really high safety stocks, you're not really looking for that, huge potential move. You're looking for just that slow and steady. And VRTX, just by looking at that quick graph at the top, I think we can all agree that's exactly what this is showing right now, is a slow and steady mover right now. But if that's not, moving fast enough, you can always keep going and look for ones that have a higher relative timing. This one, you're giving up just a little bit of safety, but you're getting a little bit more capital appreciation or, better, stronger uptrend currently than what we were seeing with some of the other ones. So, this is a way, personal preference is definitely going to be coming into play a lot with this. But this is a way to help find the stocks that you're more comfortable with quicker and easier than anywhere else out there. Is there an easy way to find out if an oil stock issues a schedule K1? We don't really track their filings there, Cyborium. So, not sure of a easy way to find out when they issue a K1 or a K1. So, yeah. Yeah. On that, one last thing. Let's say you're more of an aggressive trader, somebody looking for high momentum. Well, all you got to do, sort it by RT or relative timing. This will automatically bring the hottest or fastest moving stocks right to the top of the list. So for people like Cody out there who are scalping trades looking for stocks that have high momentum, short-term aggressive swing traders, if you will, holding for a couple of days, RT, these types of stocks are going to be some of the best to look at. APIN, I believe this one was a buyout, so we'll skip on that one. But KTRA, you can see the difference in these types of stocks. Look at this one. It has poor long-term potential, a lot of risk associated with it, telling us that this is a speculative play here, but the timing going parabolic at 2.0. We can see stock has been in a steady decline, but we're seeing a huge pop over the last few days. We zoom into 1 day. Huge move up, almost just shy of 20% for the session so far. So this is how, if you're looking for high momentum stocks and you're using the top VST stocks, this is how you can find those quickly and easily. So that way, no matter what your investment style is, you can take advantage of these here. Or you can find stocks that'll meet exactly what you're looking for. All right, so on that, if you guys have any questions regarding anything that we've covered here, what to look for depending on your own personal investment style, feel free to let me know in the comments or in the chat. I'd be glad to answer those. Also, while you're here, if you haven't already, make sure to hit that like button. Let's see how many we're at. Oh, gotta move that over a little bit. We're only at 31 likes, so only 30% of you guys, or less than 30% of you guys, are hitting that like button. So if you want to see these more often, if you guys are here consistently enjoying these streams, learning from these streams, make sure to smash that like button right now. All right, and while you guys are hitting that like button, once you get done doing that, if you have stocks that you want to see analyzed, go ahead and start throwing those out here, and let's go ahead and start to analyze a few of your guys' stocks that you want to see here. While I'm doing that, I'm just going to go ahead, hop over to the home page here, and Cody coming in, very first stock, VAXX. So looking at VAXX, this is definitely, I believe this one came in with the highest RT ratings as well, but this is going to be the ones that, are the great scalping style of trade. This one is definitely a speculative trade with poor long-term potential, a lot of risk associated with it, but that timing at 2.0 puts the overall rating of the stock above 1, so therefore the stock is favorable for that specific style of investor. This one's up almost 30% here today, currently sitting at $3.40. As we scroll down, it's overvalued. Once again, it's a speculative play, but really strong momentum behind that move. NFLX. Poor long-term potential, but less risk associated with it because they've had a strong balance sheet for so long. Looking at the timing, 1.42, really strong short-term uptrend. So overall, the stock is favorable here. Let's see. GLD. GLD being an ETF on gold, if you're not already familiar with it. With any ETF, VectorVest makes it as simple as possible to analyze. Because an ETF doesn't have quarterly earnings and doesn't report quarterly results and all that, they don't have balance sheets, your fundamental indicators, the RV and RS, are always going to be pegged at 1. Therefore, your primary focus is going to be RT. At 1.10, that tells us GLD is in a short-term uptrend, so overall, the ETF is favorable currently. Let's see. Mullen, MULN. So Mullen, poor long-term potential, a lot of risk associated with it. Even with it being up 15% here today, the timing is still well below 1. not enough to get that going. So overall, the stock is not favorable right now. JPM, good long-term potential. You have less risk associated with it. You've had a strong short-term uptrend, so overall, the stock is favorable. CRWD, poor long-term potential, a lot of risk associated with it. You're in a steady free fall, so overall, the stock is definitely not favorable here. BP, great long-term potential, but does have more risk associated with it. You're in a really strong short-term uptrend, so overall the stock is favorable. VST. We looked at this a little bit ago, Jose, when we were looking at the top VST stocks, but VST, great long-term potential, but it does carry more risk than the average stock out there. Also looking at the timing, 1.08, not really in the strongest short-term uptrend that we'd like to see. Overall, the stock is favorable, but I'd prefer to see that timing personally at 1.1 or higher. PBF, great long-term potential, a little less risk than the average stock out there. You are in a short-term uptrend, so overall the stock is favorable. Hey, Earl, glad you could be here today. DINO, great long-term potential, about average safety involved with this stock. You're in a steady short-term uptrend, so overall the stock is favorable. GRWG, poor long-term potential, a lot of risk associated with it. You have a lot of strong momentum behind the play currently, so therefore that's favorable for the speculative trader out there. UCO, another ETF, so therefore all we have to do is look at the RT. It's above 1, so UCO is favorable still. Cody Scalper, SEMS, not seeing that one here, Jay. Extro, EXROF, poor long-term potential, a lot of risk associated with it. It is a speculative play since it is a early infancy stage style of company, but it's starting to finally gain some momentum again, getting that RT to 1.36. RT is not strong enough, however, to bring the overall VST rating above 1. So therefore, still, even with this big run-up we've seen, the stock is not favorable currently. 9, NINE, great long-term potential, less risk, or has a little bit more risk associated with it though. You're in a really strong short-term uptrend, so overall the stock is favorable. TRGP, we'll do a couple more here. TRGP, great long-term potential, does have more risk associated with it, however, though. You're in a really strong short-term uptrend, so overall the stock is favorable. INSW, great long-term potential, but comes with more risk than the average stock out there. Really strong short-term uptrend. Overall, the stock is favorable. Barrick's Gold. And we'll do this one. We'll do one other one after this one. So Barrick's Gold, poor long-term potential, a lot of risk associated with it, telling us this is a speculative play currently, but starting to finally see some upward momentum, which tells us stock is in an uptrend, making the stock favorable for right now. But once again, only if you're an aggressive investor or a speculative investor there, because the RV and RS were both below that level of 1. And then last but not least, we'll do ZIM, great long-term potential, but it carries a lot of risk to get to that potential. Right now, the stock has been in a steady decline, pretty much in a free fall for right now. So overall, the stock is about average at best. But with the timing being below that level of 1, that tells us right now we don't want to be adding it into our portfolio. Once you own the stock, the RT becomes the most important indicator you need to focus on. So always keep that in mind. RELL is on the move for a trade. All right, Jay, you convinced me. We'll do one more. RELL. Great long-term potential, less risk associated with it. Nice, strong short-term uptrend. So overall, the stock is definitely favorable here. All right, so with that, getting back to the homepage. Before we close out for the day, don't forget, tomorrow is our very last Trading for Charity event. So make sure to join me at noon Eastern as we do some live trading, try to raise some money for Levine Children's Hospital. And so tomorrow, last one. If you want to join, want to donate, make sure to be there tomorrow because that will be your last chance. So, yeah, tomorrow once again at noon Eastern. If you don't want to forget, make sure subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications so that way you get notified of when we go live as well there. Also, if you want to see more on the news that's driving the markets right now, make sure to come back at 2 o'clock Eastern for Glenn's Trending Thursdays, where he talks about all the major news stories that are driving the markets and how to take advantage of them to turn those news stories into gains into your portfolio. So finally, to close out, looking at the market, the Dow is still down about 1%. NASDAQ's down now only about 0.1%. S&P is still down about 1/3. VectorVest Composite up about 0.1%. And that has us 3 ticks into the green currently. So therefore, today's market is bullish and VectorVest advocates buying safe, undervalued stocks that are rising in price at this time. Scrolling down, we can see, well, we have two, I guess we're bouncing back and forth on the RT. I guess it's probably getting into the, further out decimal points there that's giving us that green light in the gauge, but not quite visually yet. So need to keep an eye on that. But as always, looking at the advance and declines, advances sitting at 48%, moving higher, 41% of stocks moving lower, so still not meeting that 2-to-1 bias, telling us, don't try to force it. If you need to add a position, maybe waiting for a little bit, being patient, waiting for that best buying opportunity could be advantageous for you. So on that, that's going to do it for me today. Thank you all for tuning in. It's been my pleasure being with you guys. I hope you all have a great weekend. Have a great rest of your week. And until next time, take care, adios, and toodles.